and the snowdrift behind the hydrangea hedge. Twice I lost the hearing in my left ear, and once I spent 4 hours sitting in the stairwell, waiting for my sight to return. Syringes flew out to stab my arms, glass vials shattered in my hands, file drawers pinched the tips of my fingers. I forgot soldiers' names and the purpose of errands. 3 days in a row I locked myself out of the room I shared with Eliza, and always I was so tired, so very tired, that I simply could not stay awake, no matter how often I splashed water on my face or how much black coffee I drank. Finally, I surrendered and fashioned myself a nest among the towels in the supply room. I slept there every afternoon from 1:30 to 2 until the day Ward F ran out of soap, and Francis Patterson was sent to get some. Altogether, I had to admit they were right. I was beginning to make a better patient than a nurse. My body had got the better of me and could no longer be trusted. To tell the truth, I didn't know myself anymore. And so I agreed to go home, not to the Milwaukee boarding house full of unmarried nurses where Eliza and I had carefully divided the freezing mustard-colored room into her side and my side, but back to the farm where I had grown up, where the snowy hills were white as bleached linen, and where my sister rocked her little girl to sleep beside the kitchen stove while she waited for her husband to come back from the war. I knew that at home, where I belonged, I could set myself right again. Outside the train station, I drew the city's breath, yeasty from the breweries and bittersweet from the chocolate factory, into my lungs and felt better already. My grip on my bag was tight. I wasn't late or excessively early, and now for the first time in weeks I was hungry, ravenous in fact. I went into the station and stopped at a counter to buy myself a bag of peanuts with extra salt and a cup of coffee that didn't burn my tongue. When I'd finished the nuts, I was still hungry. "Would you wrap half a ham salad?" I said. "No, better make it a whole, and some of that chicken. And maybe a piece of pie. The cherry, please." Someone down the counter was drinking a chocolate milkshake that looked awfully good, and I was tempted to order one of those. "That's what I like," the counterman said, punching numbers into the register. "A woman who can eat." So I changed my mind about the milkshake. As I was paying my bill, they called my train. "One way, miss? Going home?" the conductor asked, steadying himself with his hip along the seat in front of me. I nearly began to explain that it wasn't right, really, to consider it home any longer, even though legally the farm was half mine. Really, it belonged to my sister now, since she lived there, had a family there, and I was just going back for a restorative visit because somehow my body had taken on a life of its own. I wanted to confess that I'd been banished because I had failed as a nurse, because no one, including me, believed that I could coax soldiers back into proper shape when I was such a mess myself. But it isn't in me to say such things out loud. "That's right," I said. He winked. "Tickets!" he bawled and lurched away down the swaying car. Spring meant even less in the country than it did in the city that year, and by the time we pulled up to the icy little platform in Nagawaukee, the sky was heavy with unfallen snow. The wind bit at my face so that I had to duck my head. I watched the toes of my boots as I stepped down the slick platform stairs and picked my way over the snow that drifted across the street in long pulls like taffy. My steps took me 1, 2, 3 buildings down from the platform where I stopped at the door of Heinzelman's Bait and Tackle. 'A dozen grubs for a penny.' I went in. The bell over the door jingled, and the coals in the corner stove gave an answering glow to the sudden draft. Then the curtains behind the counter parted, and Mary Louise Lindgren emerged from the back room. She smiled when she saw me, beamed, you could say, and wiped her hands on her apron front in that nervous way she had as she hurried toward me. "Mandy, what are you doing home?" She put her hands on my shoulders, pressed her cheek against mine. "Oh, you're frozen, a block of ice." She held her warm palms to my face for a moment, and then grabbed hold of my wrist and gave it a little tug without pausing to let me answer her question. "Come over near the stove. I can't believe it, just can't believe it's you." I wondered, when I heard the bell, I wondered who would be coming in at this hour, and I thought, it's probably Harry Stoltz, but of course it couldn't have been because he's over in Watertown.